Hello to everyone that will watch this replay. This is my first live in a really long time, and I am excited to share space. Hi, how are you, Diamond? Hello, Mighty Ken. Diamond, it's been a long time. How are you? Send me a DM. Let me know how you've been doing. It's great to see you. I am excited to be here tonight. It's been a long time, and I want to talk about building self-awareness, the power of self-awareness tonight. Now, by chance, did either one of you guys see my my topic of discussion, or did you get my email? The power of self-awareness is what we're going to be talking about tonight. So if you are someone who likes to journal, which is pretty much what I want to talk more to you guys about, the journaling prompt. So the journaling prompt is, okay, Diamond, you said no. Well, I'm happy you joined though. Well, so the journal prompt for tonight is list one pattern in your relationships you are ready to change and explore how it originated. Hey, Shani, how are you? So I sent an email to, if you're on my email listing, you got the email. If you're in my broadcast channel, you got that notification that I'm going live. So I am attempting to find a time and a day to go live every single week. That is my goal. My goal is to go live every single week. For those of you who have been with me for a long time, Diamond, I know you've been rocking with me for a minute. So I used to go live 2-3 times a week. Hey sis, it's good to see you too. So today I wanted to kind of give you guys a dive into my into just my life, my world right now, what I'm doing. Hey, Miss Brown. So many of you probably know that I do a lot of my healing through my writing. I've literally been writing since I was about like 9 or 10 years old. It started off like in my little diary. I feel like we all had those little diaries, right? With the little lock on it, and it came with the key. I don't even know if they still make them like that anymore. But it started off in my little diary, and then it kind of transcended into my mother got me a word. What was it used to call? They used to call them. Well, first I had a typewriter. Then I got upgraded to a word processor. That's what it was. Before the laptop days, okay? And so now, to this day, I still journal. And, you know, my journals have upgraded a little bit. You know, little nicer journals than I used to have before. But journaling has still been a thing for me. And so my desire, or my goal rather, with going live is I can somehow connect this. Oh, hey, Miss White, how you doing? I can somehow connect this journaling to us having conversations as well. And then if you would like to journal with me, you can. So I'm going to see how this works. I'm really doing this for me. You know, I talked this over with the Lord, and I'm like, I need to find a day that I can be consistent. And once I can do that, and this is something that I know you guys like, what I want to do is I want to move this platform to a Zoom where we can do it all together. And this is just going to be free of charge once a week. So that's like the goal, right? That's my goal in doing this. But today's topic, building self-awareness. Self-awareness is probably one of the most important things you can do for yourself on your healing journey. Many of us can tell other people every single day what other people did to us. We can remember the time, place, the date, what the person had on, the situation that took place. We have a running list of the other person's things that they need to work on, things that they need to stop doing. things that they need to address in their own life. And then when we get to the list about ourselves, we say, well, the only thing I need to work on is I need to stop engaging with these kind of people. And that's not true. It's behavior patterns that we have that are drawing these type of people to us. And that was one of the major things that I had to get acquainted with on my healing journey in the initial years. And when I look back now, I say, wow, what a blessing it would have been if somebody would have said, Tanisha, you do A, B, C, and I think this is why you see yourself in these situations, right? Now, I want to also share this about self-awareness. Sometimes what people don't share enough about self-awareness, what I found, and feel free to put in your own opinions as well, is self-awareness needs to have a grieving moment. Because when the doors really open up and your eyes are wide open and you really start to see yourself in interactions, you will pause a lot. I don't know if any of you guys were fans of the TV show Insecure by Issa Rae, but there were moments when she was talking to herself in the mirror and she would have, these moments of like being in her head, having these conversations that no one else could hear, but she was like having full dialogues. You go through a lot of moments like that when you're building your self-awareness, because for the first time, you're hearing yourself, you're seeing yourself, you're acknowledging your feelings, you're acknowledging emotions that are coming up. And now it's almost like this feeling of, well, I have to do something now, or I really need to sit down in this moment because I see what I am doing and it's not okay. And no wonder this person is responding like this, or no wonder I'm in this situation because this is what I've chosen to do. Miss Y said, ouch, why you always stepping on my toes, TJ? I know, and it's such an amazing moment though that you have when you can see your own self. So self-awareness is in a capsule really is our ability to be able to see our own behavior patterns, to understand who we are, to understand our own thoughts, our own feelings, and pretty much the ability to be able to step out of the situation and look at it from an objective standpoint, right? About, okay, this is what I did, this is what this person did, and then you kind of get laser focus on the things that you did. Now, there still are times, of course, where the person has truly hurt your feelings. And it is like, wow, I can't believe this person did this to me, right? And it's okay for us to sit there. And on the other side of that, it's why did we allow this, right? Now, for that piece, many of us use guilt tripping and criticizing ourselves, where we really need to be looking at self-compassion and the ability to be able to figure out what we needed in that moment. So say, for example, your boyfriend or your partner or your spouse, significant other, they get upset with you about something, and then next thing you know, you're at dinner and now they're yelling at you. Well, indeed, your partner should not be yelling at you because they're upset, right? So we recognize that, and we recognize what were the actions that took place before this person got upset, right? And in that scenario, you may find, well, I kind of told my partner what they should wear that day. Or I picked the place, I didn't really ask them where they want to go. Or, okay, well, my partner did say they really didn't want to do this, but I wanted to do it and I felt like it would be good for us to do. So I was just trying to help them out. I was just trying to help them out because they're like this, or I was just trying to help them out because they look sad, or I was just trying to help them out. And eventually, just like you hear me, you start to hear yourself. So that's, hey, Oshun, it's good to see you. So that's the power of self-awareness. That is no longer you looking at what they did, how they did it, and what's happening to you. You're now saying what they did, okay, how they did it, this is happening to me. Why is this happening to me? But it's not in a bashing way. It's more of a way of, how was I not clear? What were some things that maybe I miscommunicated? Did I not understand what they needed? Right? How can we have a conversation around that? Or was this something like, a real misunderstanding that now got magnified into this really, really big thing, right? And so as we start to look more at that, then the question becomes, oh, well, why am I doing these things? Oh, hey, Nikki. All my friends on here. You guys are awesome, by the way. Thank you for supporting me. But then we start to look at ourselves, right? And then we say, well, why am I doing this? And that's where the healing is, right? I coach clients, and in my coaching program, I tell people all the time that it's not really about what they did. I mean, it's unfortunate, and we need to grieve it, and we need to process it. But then you need to take all that information, and you now need to apply it to other areas in your life, right? I was going through a situation with someone where the incident that took place was indeed, my fault. It was indeed my fault. I was uncomfortable. Something happened. I had to make a decision for myself that impacted that person, and I made the decision last minute. And there was a really big response. And if I would have stayed on that one level of self-awareness, it would have just been guilt, shame, criticizing myself, right? But then as we climb higher, as what I would like you to consider doing, when we climb higher, we see, well, how did we get in this situation for the first place? Well, I really actually didn't want to partake in this with that person. Why is that? Well, because of how they always respond. How long have they been responding this way? Well, they've been responding this way for the last 10 years. So why are you still connecting with someone who has big responses that make you feel guilt, that make you feel shame? This person talks to you like this. Oh, well, I do that because being guilted and being shamed is very familiar because of my family dynamic. So now we have a golden ticket, right? It's like, oh, so this is where this is coming from. So now we have something to work with, right? It's not so much about the situation or the person, but what happened, the lesson that we learned in the moment is now showing us, it's revealing to us, oh, okay, so this is the pattern. And we have this pattern because we're still struggling with low self-worth, right? Still struggling with shame, still struggling with whatever the struggle is, right? So I personally journal just about every day. I pray every day, and then I normally journal. Now, the crazy thing about it was, I'm a Christian. Jesus Christ is my Lord and Savior. And when my dad first died 5 years ago, I was just so disappointed with God that I was very disconnected, to the point where I didn't even want to get on my knees a lot and pray. I'm just like, you know what happened to me. You knew this was going to happen. So I'm still processing it. Now, you, God, you knew. So, you knew this. But me, I'm new to this. I did not know my daddy was going to die 6 months after we had a reconciliation. You knew that. So I'm going to let you do you, because you God, ain't nothing I could do. But I'm going to sit over here, and I'm going to watch The Shy, and I'm going to eat my ice cream and my Cheetos, and I'm going to lay in the bed. And I'm just going to journal my feelings. So God said, okay, you do that. And you see how far that take you. So I journaled and I journaled and I journaled, and eventually I started praying. So now I have this combo where I journal and I pray, right? So I said all that to say this is very special to me when I'm sharing with y'all, okay? I don't share my journal entries. But what I journaled today was, and so what I, just so you know, I'm not, sometimes I think the experts be making us feel like they experts and they just get all this knowledge just poop out the sky or whatever. No, I read hella books. So this one came from Melody Beattie, and it was in the Codependent No More book, which I really, well, actually this came from Beyond Codependency, which was like her second book. So the question said, list one pattern in your relationships you are ready to change and explore how it originated. So I got a long journal entry that, you know, is too much information to be reading on the screen. But what pretty much came out of today's journal is feelings of shame are still impacting how I see myself. I still struggle, you know, to say no to certain things. I feel bad for long periods of time. And the last friendship that I decided to, I don't even want to say close the chapter, because I mean, I love all my friends, you know. My friends are like my family, because my family, and shout out to my family if y'all watch this live, but my family's in Georgia and Florida. So anytime I want to try to do anything with them, it's a process, you know. Like, at least when it comes to hanging out, you know what I'm saying? Like, I can't just like, oh, I'm going to drive to my sister's house. Like, no, I need to get a plane, all the stuff, right? So my friends kind of become like my family. So I haven't officially decided what I'm going to do with this person, which also comes with self-awareness, right? As we heal, we learn that we don't have to make fast decisions. Making fast decisions is actually a trauma response, right? And this is like unhealthy decisions. Like if you're in the store and, you know, I don't like those kind of eggs, I want these eggs, are cool, no problem. You know what I'm saying? If you know what you like to eat when the waiter comes to the table, praise the Lord. You know what I'm saying? I don't most of the time, but that's great. I'm not talking about those decisions. I'm talking about when it comes to decisions around relationships and people. If you find yourself feeling like you got to cut somebody off all the time, you know what I'm saying? You don't even want to think about it. You don't even want to, you know, then that might be a trauma response, right? Because sitting in that level of pain or sadness or anger or all three is a challenge for you to do, right? Sitting in feelings is challenging for all of us to do. However, you know, it also could demonstrate that somewhere in your life you were either made to sit in really, really tough things, and so now as an adult you have control and you're like, I'm not doing that anymore. Or it could mean that everything was always crazy. You know, it's like 1 minute everybody having a good time in your family, the next minute everybody arguing. And so now as an adult, your inner child is like, oh, well, now I can control everything. So I'm going to control my partner. I'm going to control my kids. I'm going to control my job. I'm going to be the manager at the job so that I can be in charge of the job to make sure nothing crazy happens here. I'm going to be in charge of my kids, hanging out with my kids, because they my kids. They got to do what I say. I'm going to be on this committee, because if I'm on the committee, then that means I don't have to worry about anybody making mistakes. I don't have to worry about anybody, you know, dropping the ball, because I'm in control, right? That's what all these things say. Listen, and it's no shade to anybody here. At my church, I was an usher. I was facilitating workshops when we was doing our 12-step program. I was responsible for the health. Listen, I've been down this road. That's why I'm talking to you like this. We family. So there's no shame here. I'm just pointing these things out to you, that this might be what it is. That I'm a cutoff queen and black. I was too. Being really transparent, I had a hard time I wanted to hide my story so bad when I fell out with this particular person. And I said, Tanisha, what is hiding the stories gonna do? Well, I just don't want her to know what I got going on. But why? The person isn't calling you and you ain't calling them. So what's hiding the stories gonna do? Either you gonna delete her or you're not. That simple. And I thought about it like, yeah, it is that simple. And that's how fast that inner child within us, some people say the ego, whatever term you call it, right? That's how fast that person just comes out. But let me tell you the beautiful thing about self-awareness. When you have that self-awareness, the self-awareness now partners with you being able to be that quote-unquote parent that you needed, right? Listen, I'm parenting little Tanisha all the time because I have my phone in my hand. I mean, you can tell me nothing. I was like, okay, what's his name? Okay, chocolate 654. You are black. Boom. And I said, and Tanisha, what is that going to do? But see, these are the emotional tools that we had as children now surfacing as adults. This is the work. This is the real work of healing. You are now responsible to tell yourself, hey self, I know we used to block people. I know we used to cuss people out. I know we used to just go ghost when problems came. But we actually don't have to do that anymore. We can just simply tell the person, hey, you know what? I love you, I care about you, but we on a different wave right now. And to be honest with you, it kind of hurts my feelings when I see you living your life and I'm not in it. So for a minute, if you don't see nothing on my page, it's because for me, I have to hide my stories. Like, I just can't deal with the emotions that we ain't cool like we used to. Now, is that very vulnerable? Absolutely. Have I done it? Yes, I have. I've done it twice. For this particular person, I'm trying to climb even higher, right? Before, I used to have those conversations. Now, let me tell you now, people gonna look at you like like you crazy. What? Oh, okay, well, whatever. But don't worry about that, because what you're doing is you're building self-awareness. This is like building blocks. I've had so many complicated conversations with people. Coworkers come to me, Tanisha, let's go to lunch. I'm feeling depressed today. I don't feel like going to lunch. I don't want to hear nobody else's stories except the ones I get paid for, and those my clients. And then, my thing is physical touch. So I try to hold people's hand, look in their eyes so they know, listen, I love you. This has nothing to do with you. But I just got so much going on. Like, I don't feel like it. And you got those people that'll walk away like, okay. And then you got people that really will feel away and stop talking to you. It ain't nothing we can do, right? But the beauty of it is when you can honor, right? It's like you can honor yourself. Miss White said, oh, ouch, I did the same but was hiding it because they thought I was trying to manage others' emotions. Yeah, you see, it's like we make these decisions, right? Because in the moment, it feels like, okay, this is going to fix that scenario. But it was beautiful because I was sitting in this. I take a lot of workshops, right? I do workshops so that I can have workshops with y'all. I'm trying to increase. I'm trying to increase my thing, keep my stuff strong. I was sitting in a workshop about a month ago, and the facilitator, she was like, every time you do something that doesn't make any sense to you, more than likely that is an old emotional tool. And she said that the biggest thing that we can do is ask ourselves, why do I do this when this particular thing comes up? Right? Say, for example, what we was just talking about with the blocking people and hiding stories. Well, I learned that I did that because, I don't want to see their stuff. you going out to brunches and doing this and that, and I ain't doing it with you because we beefing. I don't want no reminder about that. I want to live my life. But then that's also connected to, I also like to dismiss and avoid feelings, right? I shared the story all day for some of you who didn't know. My first book, I wrote my first book in 3 months. I wrote the first book in 3 months. Why? Because my father was dying in the process of me writing the book. He had his first stroke in the end of May, and then he had the second one June 19th. I couldn't sleep. I love to eat, so I didn't lose no weight, but sadly. But I couldn't sleep. I couldn't really focus. So my thing is I need to stay busy. So what better way to stay busy is to write my book. So I wrote my first book in 3 months because I just couldn't handle thinking about what was really going on. So when I understand that pattern, I said, oh, okay, so this makes sense that I like to block people because I don't like to sit in feelings, right? And if I'm seeing it, then it's like a constant reminder that I'm seeing it. So when we get these self-awareness moments, then we have to nurture this, right? We have to take care of this. So what does this mean? It means that whatever is happening in you, you now have to learn how to sit in this uncomfortable feeling, right? That's where the nervous system kicks in. So healing is generally either top to bottom or bottom to top, right? Or self-regulation. Self-regulation is either bottom to top or top to bottom, meaning that some people find self-regulation in doing things like yoga, deep breathing, exercise of some form, right? Sometimes I've had clients that, like, if you ever wonder, like, why your legs, if you're a person where your legs is always shaking all the time, that's actually your nervous system trying to regulate, right? You learned that from somewhere. Something's happening, and now your leg is shaking, trying to regulate you, trying to keep you in balance, right? I'm a top to bottom person to self-regulate. I go in my mind and I say, Tanisha, what's going on? This is what's going on. This is the trigger. Okay, is this really a trigger? Yes, it is. Okay, well, what are we going to do? And then the outcome is whatever I want to do, right? I've been doing this, though, literally for like 7 years. Being able to do the bottom, the top to bottom is not easy. Most people start with, bottom to top, which is fine. Whatever you like to do is fine. The goal is you begin to become self-aware of your triggers, how they show up, and then nurturing yourself. Because what we want to do is true healing is healing the nervous system. We can think all day long. Trust me, healing is not an intellectual thing. It's not. It's a body and a mind process, meaning that he said my mother did that and do it as well. Except ones I get paid for that part. Hey, Beyond the Breaking Life Coaching, thank you for joining. But what we really want to do, right? And I'm looking at you guys' comments. It's just that I have ptosis, which means that so my eye, not that this matters, but just FYI, if I look like I'm tired, my eyelids the muscle in my eyelids are gone. So I'm a diabetic and I have not taken good care of myself, which is one of the reasons why I haven't been going live a lot, because I'm kind of sad about my appearance and my eyes. But I decided I'm going to let all that go. But I just wanted to say that. That's why I'm going like this, because I'm like, what? I'm trying to read the comments. But I am looking at the comments. But at any rate, it's a mind and body process. So we may know what to do, but then you have to do the hard job of sitting. You have to sit in the emotions, and that's the challenging part. Because our intellect will only get you so far with healing. And I'm going to share something else with you. You start to sound inauthentic and almost like a robot. Because I know when I first was out here trying to do all this work that I'm telling you about, I guess I'm stopping down now. My sister and I did. Not sure at what point I stopped. I'm guessing I'm top down now. I think you are. I think you are, Keila. I think you're top down. I mean, my experience with you has always been top down. So we know we're top. So this is how you know. If something happens, right, you get triggered, and your first thing is you have a thought to regulate yourself. Like, okay, something's going on. Let me try to. Then you're top down. But if something happens and you find like emotion in your body, or your first response is to take a deep breath, then you may be bottom to top, right? Either one is fine, honestly. We just want to be mindful that they both need to work together. So it's like the trigger happens. Okay, you take a deep breath. But don't just breathe and then avoid, or breathe and then block, or breathe and then run away. Right? Think about, how do I want to show up in this experience as my true authentic self? Not my broken self, not the parts of me that are fearful, not the parts of me that feel shame, not the parts of me that are worried about what someone may think, but really show up as the person that I am, or the person that I'm working towards being, right? I personally believe that all of us are strong, capable, wise, amazing people. Even though I'm working hard to be a therapist, I believe that therapy and any form of counsel, its job really, I heard something at my door, its job really is to bring self-awareness, right? So that we then can take that self-awareness and say, okay, this is what I'm triggered by, this is what's affecting me, this is what I want to work on, etc., etc. But oftentimes what we do, myself included, is we look at the person now as the one that has all the answers. And that's not true. The person doesn't have the answers. They have knowledge, and they're taking that knowledge and they're taking those skills, and then they're using that to work on us, right? And I don't know what everyone's belief here is, but for me personally, what I'm learning is my job is to go to a therapist, to go to the counselor, to go to the coach. Because believe it or not, I have a life coach too. Go to the coach and say, hey, this is what I'm seeing. What do you think? And then whatever that information I get back from them, I now talk to the Lord about. Because for me, I feel like he's my ultimate healer, right? I was a person for a long time. I felt like I could heal myself. I'm going to read this book. I'm going to go to this workshop. I'm going to get this knowledge. And then I'm going to use this knowledge. And then everything's going to be fine. And I ran with that for about 10 years. And eventually, when my dad died, the experience was one that I couldn't escape as easy as others, because it was layered with grief and sadness and anger and just so much disappointment. It's like it was a layered experience, right? Because in my book, Healing Doesn't Look Like That. If you have it, You already know the dynamic. But my relationship with him was pretty much one where I assumed for most of my life that my dad really didn't love me. He was only in my life because he felt like it was an obligation. And I felt like we didn't really have like a true, authentic relationship, the kind of relationship I wanted between father and daughter. And then finally at 35, I was tired of complaining about it, so I decided to tell him. So my birthday's in January, so I flew out to Florida in January, and I was all, like, I'm about to tell him, and blah, 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 blah. So I told him. My dad apologized. He told me his perspective of things, and then we kind of like started from scratch. I mean, my dad literally, he was like, so what are some of the things that you always wanted to do? Let's do them. And I'm looking at him like, well, you 72 and I'm 35. So we can't go to the park no more. And you put me in the little slide and I go down. We can't do that. So I was like, well, what does it look like? And me and him literally sat together and, I shared with him like, well, I don't know this about men and I want you to help me with this. I remember my first profile, my dad helped me create the profile. I was sending him pictures. I was so surprised, y'all. I was sending my dad pictures. He talking about, you ain't got no pictures showing your legs? Men like legs. I was like, oh my God. So it was great. It was really nice. And we had that for 6 months. And then he died in July. So it was just so many emotions that I couldn't run away like I normally would. And that's what you will find happen in your life. I don't know what your breaking point is going to look like. I don't know what that moment is going to look like. Or maybe it's already happened, but when that moment comes, it kind of jolts everything. And then you realize that you can't use any of the tools that you normally would use. So then it's like, well, what am I going to do? So for me, that's when I went back to the journaling and I went back to processing. And what I found was this thing called healing really was about learning how to sit in those feelings and still know that I'm going to be okay. Because trauma takes that away from us. If you grew up in a household where, you were struggling, like you felt unseen by your parent, maybe there were times you had to care for yourself, maybe there were times you had to care for your siblings, maybe you guys just had like a really big family, and even though you had everything you needed, you just felt like you never got that one-on-one support that you wanted. Whatever your dynamic was, right? Maybe somebody was sick, maybe, you had to take care of someone, whatever the situation was, that's still considered to be a traumatic event to the brain. Anything that makes our brain stop and pause is considered to be a traumatic event, right? Anything that the body has to now prepare for. Like, I'm in safety if I'm not safe right now. Anytime your body is getting messages like that, oh, you're welcome. Thank you. Anytime your body is getting messages like that, that's considered to be a traumatic experience, right? In my 9 to 5, I work with teen moms, and I have a conversation with them to say, like, I'm a safe space to say, this was traumatic. Do you love your baby? Absolutely. But the experience of having a baby by itself, especially first time, is traumatic. And when you add being 16 or 17 on top of that, it's like you go from planning for the prom to trying to figure out what to feed your baby. That's wild. That's a lot for the brain. And every time that happens, we get locked into that age and we get locked into that moment. That's why you may know, I definitely know, I used to be, one of those people that was in their 30s, 40s, 50s, but when anything comes down to speaking up, expressing how you feel, somebody hurt your feelings, you feel disappointed, it's like your emotional tools are those of like a 5-year-old. Now, of course, we're not 5 anymore, so it doesn't look as cute, but it's like we do stuff as if, we're 4 or 5 years old. And so when that happens, it takes away from us the ability to learn how to sit in things, because now the brain is wired to believe sitting in feelings is not safe. No, I can't sit in sadness. No, I can't sit in disappointment. No, I can't sit in grief. Nope. I have to find something to do. I can't sit in depression. I have to find something to do to get out of this. That's what the brain thinks, and the body goes right along with it. Now, if you guys ready for me to take it to another level for you, the next level to that is when your brain decides, okay, we're not going to do this. Now your body is not in rest mode. So now the body, to compensate, has to find other ways to get you to rest. That may look like binge watching your favorite shows, overeating, being like over drinking, being overstimulated at one time, meaning you may be the person that got the laptop out while you playing Candy Crush on the phone, while the TV is also on, and your favorite show is on, while you had a podcast episode that you've been trying to listen to for the last 2 months on. This is like real life right here. This is how the body will start to try to find rest. The body is like, I'm tired. And so that's why we find ourselves unmotivated. Or all of a sudden you are really excited about something and now you don't want to do it. Those are like small little windows where that inner child in you is like trying to come out like, hey, I'm not happy. And so every time you avoid, you dismiss, you find a new project, you find a new thing to get into, that's you shutting down yourself. I feel like we spend so much time talking about setting boundaries and keeping ourselves safe. We don't spend enough time talking about, the fact that we don't keep ourselves safe. We so busy focused on setting boundaries and keeping ourselves safe from the next person. But the safety really is within. How many times have you not kept your own self safe? You don't listen to your body when your body tries to tell you you're tired. Or you don't listen to your spirit when your spirit tells you not to connect with this person, not to do this thing. You override it constantly. I have clients all the time. Tanisha, I just don't trust people. There's no such thing. You don't trust yourself. People are going to people. But if you have been overriding your own system for years, decades, then it's going to be very difficult. That's why you need that person to be on point. That's why you need that person to not make any mistakes. Because you yourself don't trust yourself not to. So now you're trying to put trust in somebody else because you don't know how to trust yourself. Learning how to trust myself was one of the best decisions that I made. Miss Y said, that's very important. Your body will find other ways to rest. It will. Oshun said, facts. Yeah, you will. I mean, you will find, like, that was one of the best decisions I could have made. Right? It helps you be able to really be in relationships as the authentic self. I have waited years for this. Years. The whole reason why, God forbid, because I've done a lot of stuff, I have neglected my physical health for a really long time. I don't know what state I'm going to be when I leave here. That's just the reality. I speak power over myself. And I know that when I make the changes I need to make, I know God is going to take it 3 times higher for me. and redo everything that I did. But in the meantime, in between time, okay, somewhere that happened to me, you know, the whole reason why I even have this platform is because when I found all this out, I was like, I want to save somebody else from this. I am 41 years old. I don't even have children because for all my life, I felt like I wasn't pretty enough. All the guys I used to talk to looked like 2 Chainz coming fresh out of jail. No disrespect for 2 Chainz. I'm just trying to paint an image for y'all. It's like the dude with nothing really going, struggling himself. I would be like, oh my God, that's my person. You homeless? Oh my God, that's my person. And I didn't trust myself to make the right decisions anymore, so I just stopped. And for a long time, I would say stuff like, it ain't no good man out here. So then I did this whole thing of, well, it looks like I'm not going to get married, so that means I need to make sure I got a job that's making some money. So then, at 27, I said, I'm getting my master's degree in social work. So then I got the master's degree, graduated, and I said, I'm about to get me a city job. Because, you know, this was 11 years ago when a city job really was about something, right? So then I got, hey, one of my friends from master's school all here now. Hey. And so then got the city job. So then it's like, at this point now, I'm 31. So I'm like, oh, okay, well, you know, it's time to start traveling. So then I spent the next 4 years traveling with friends, shopping, going to little lounges, doing all these brunches, running up my credit card. You know, it was literally to the point where a friend would call me, Tanisha, let's go to Vegas. Okay. Like, let's go to Vegas tomorrow. Okay. All of this stuff. And at 35, it was like, boom. Like, my dad dying, it brought everything to a halt. And it was like, what are you going to do now? There are no more credit cards. There is no more money. There's no partner here. What are you going to do? Then, when he died, COVID hit the next year. So then I was worried about my job, all this old stuff, right? Just to paint a picture for you. That's how fast 27 became 41. And now I'm sitting here like, wow, I'm 41 years old. And I have all this debt. And I have all these amazing experiences. And I have no partner and I have no kids. Trying to start over. Now for me, this felt like the bottom. Little did I know, right, who do we meet at the bottom? I mean, if you're a Christian, right, Jesus is at the bottom. So now I'm having to come back to him. And what I found was my experiences, my pain, my shame, it had muted my voice. And so this journal is special to me because this journal was the only way I had to communicate with God at one point. Because I just didn't want to speak everything that I just told you. But I spoke it, and it came through writing. And now, hey, Khadijah. And now I do my journal prompts. Miss Y said, no, TJ. I do my journal prompts every day. And it's helped me with my self-awareness a lot. And I just wanted to share that with you today. I'm not sure. You probably got distracted by me talking. So I'm not sure if you even followed the journal prompt. But the prompt was, list one pattern in your relationships you are ready to change and explore how it originated. So that pattern for me was, what I just shared. This journey, of healing, it doesn't, what I find is, self-awareness puts you on a platform now to live like in this conscious way of living. It's like you're mindful of everything. You focus on everything. You have hope. I find that I have hope for the future. So the boundaries get easier because I say to myself, if I'm truly hurting this person, right? by my actions or by my thoughts or by things that I'm doing or not doing. If I say I really love them, right, I want them to be happy. And if that happiness looks like me not being in it, then I have to accept that, right? While also understanding now that anybody that's supposed to be in my life is going to come. And I can take feedback. I can take criticism now. That wasn't always the case, right? But I can take it now, without blocking people or not talking to them, but sitting in the feelings of why does this conversation feel hard? What is it that this person is saying that's bringing things out of me? Because now I learned that all conversations have power. That is, Khadijah said, that is something good to sit with. Yes, Khadijah is also a mental health coach that I work with and love. Always has an amazing word. Follow her while she's on here. But I'm really excited about this journey. And, I don't know. I'm doing it on Instagram now. I'm going to try to transfer this to a Zoom call where we can engage and I can have the journal prompt up. And I'm just going to see what happens, So I'm going to have like a link in my bio. And I'm just going to put it on repeat. Every Sunday, 7 o'clock, 10 p.m. EST. We'll just journal, and grow together. And if I can say something that's encouraging, while we journal, I will. But the goal is for us to really sit down with these emotions. I mean, honestly, what I'm working through now is I just wish that I would have been able to get to a place where I could regulate my emotions so I could talk to my dad much, much earlier. And I think if I would have been able to do that, we would have had more time. But thank you, Jesus, for those 6 months. But this is the real reason why I do this work. And the workshop will be, the journal prompt class is going to be free. Because I just, even if you don't work with me, even if you're somebody that don't believe in therapy, even if you're somebody that believe in a different, a different faith, a different, just different, right? I promise you, one thing that's not going to change is really learning how to regulate ourselves. It feels so freeing to be able to have conversations with people and not be scared anymore. I used to be scared. I was scared, like, what is this person going to say? Sometimes I used to even be scared of my own response. Like, Tanisha, can you really say this and not feel like you want to slap this person? I used to be angry. Like, it was almost like some type of demonic spirit. I feel like I was just so angry all the time. And I had no idea that it was like just pent up emotions. Nobody explained the stuff that, I'm talking about, to me in the beginning. And I do. Like, I'm probably just going, I don't know when that's going to go away, but I'm probably going to sit with that for a long time, that because I wasn't able to regulate, I just couldn't have that, that experience with my dad, I remember, this is my last story, and then I know y'all got to go to sleep, but when I tell y'all, it was one time, I think I was like 34, 33, and I had to buy something. We were going somewhere, and I didn't have like a formal dress or whatever. And my dad was like, oh, okay, well, I'm going to drop you off at the mall. Because he lived in Tampa. Anybody from Tampa, Florida. He dropped me off at, I forgot the name of the mall. Dropped me off at the mall. And I got in the mall, and I was walking down the aisle, and I was crying. And I was like, why am I crying? And in my mind, I was like, he should be here. Like, you should be here with me. Like, you just gonna leave me here in the mall. Like, I don't know where these places are, blah, blah, blah. And then like 2 months later, I told my therapist the story. And she was like, Tanisha, that's interesting that, you know, you wanted to go shopping with like your 70-year-old dad. And I sat with that. And, you know, this was before, you know, I had, you know, give me some credit because, you know what I'm saying, I was 33. Real healing did hit me to, you know, when he died, I was 35. So I was still very much, you know, like anybody from the Bay Area, like from San Francisco, like I was raised in the Fillmore district. It used to be called Fillmo. I don't know if they do that, but it's a hood. If you from a hood, you know the hood. So I was very much hood. And in my mind, I was like, bitch, you judging me? I'm giving you $75. What the fuck? Right? Like when I got in the car, I was like, I'm about to find me another therapist because she don't understand. And then I thought about it like, wow, but why do I want my 70-year-old dad to like walk in the mall? And I didn't really have the answer like for a long time. But now, you know, I have the answers. You know, I want that connection with him. And so him dropping me off felt like this is another thing I have to do by myself. And I didn't have any logic and reasoning. See, that's what self-awareness does. It's like when the emotions come in, self-awareness comes behind it and say, hey, but let's think about these other points. Okay, I know it hurts because you wanted to spend time with him, but shopping with him may not be what you can do anymore. Your dad didn't have knee replacements. You know, he had been in a major car accident. He can barely walk. He's 70 years old. Do you know how long it's going to take for y'all to find these clothes? You really want him to be like in pain trying to walk with you, right? That's the power of self-awareness. I'm soon another sense of abandonment. I'm soon to be 44 and still 7-year-old TJ wanted her dad there. I did, you know, I wanted him there, you know, and you're right, you know, Mrs. Luna, you're right. Like it's something that we battle with, right? And then what we find is when we get there, when you finally understand what's really bothering you, then the other form of struggle that we sometimes have is you learn that, oh, this really don't have nothing to do with this person. It's like what you did was valid and it did hurt my feelings, but I'm feeling the way I'm feeling not because of you, but because of an unmet need within me, right? And so at that time I was 33 and I was like, oh, well, you know, I sat on it for like maybe like 6 months and I was like, yeah, she right. Like he really can't walk through the mall with me anymore. Oh, well. And at that time, I didn't really have an understanding of like how to think through stuff, you know, and come up with other solutions. You know, if it were to happen now, I would easily be like, oh yeah, he can't walk through the mall, you know, but you can come home, you say, okay, Dad, these are dresses that I picked out. You know, which one you like? Okay, which one should I wear? Are there gonna be any single guys there? Okay, do you know their daddy? Okay, put in a word for me. Tell them about your daughter. Okay, I'm gonna wear this dress or whatever, right? You know, but those moments aren't here anymore. And so that's something that I sit with, and that's why I started journaling again, because I was like, I need to figure out what's happening. So I'm going through an ongoing grief process of many things. I'm grieving not having children. I'm grieving his loss. I'm grieving, you know, whatever ends up happening to me. It's funny because I work with teen moms, and one of my clients was like, Miss Tanisha, do you be high all the time? And I laughed at her. I said, no, baby, Miss Tanisha got like an eye condition, so my eyes just always look low. But I would never come to you high. My job is to help you not to not to be high around you. And we both laughed, and I was like, oh, okay, well, it must be visible. And for a minute, the devil was trying to use that in my head. Like, well, you can't go live no more because you got this eye problem, and people gonna be taking screenshots. Like, look at her. And then I said, Tanisha, don't worry about that. Like, just do it anyway, right? Do it anyway. But I'm excited. I'm gonna figure out a way to get you guys over to the Zoom. I think if I just keep the Zoom link live, right, in my link, then you guys can just click on it and just come into Zoom. So that's what I plan on doing. So I'm excited. I'm reading you guys' comments. But if you are, if you are home and up on Sundays at 7 o'clock, Pacific time, or 9 o'clock Central time, or 10 o'clock, Eastern time, if you up and you free, your family, is not around you for 30 or 40 minutes, come through and let's heal and journal together. I'm going to be on a platform every Sunday night. Every Sunday night. So, I'm going to do Sundays for a minute, and then if people don't show up, then I'll switch the day and I'll do another announcement. But yeah, that's what I'm gonna start doing. So I'm excited to support you guys on your healing journey. There are many, many ways to work with me, to get knowledge from me. I have my podcast, Moments of Reflection. A new episode is dropping tomorrow. If you are in a relationship and you like to learn about ways you and your partner can connect and continue to support each other and nurture each other, I highly encourage you to follow Sean McBride. So he has created a community called The School, which he literally gives information. He literally teaches classes Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays for only $97. And that's $97 per couple. So you and your partner could split that, if you wanted to, seriously. And it's definitely worth it. I also, if you are a person that enjoys like workshops, like you don't necessarily see yourself like needing like any couple support, but maybe you just enjoy workshops, I highly encourage you to follow Vanessa Bennett. So she has a community called Inner Compass Collective. It's literally $27 a month, and you have access to all the workshops she has in there. I also teach classes for Vanessa as well. I'm currently teaching the class from Transform to Triggered. Our first class was last Thursday. The last class is going to be this Thursday. I encourage you to join. I'm also taking new clients. You can click the link in my bio and apply to work with me. Or I got a lot of freebies. Like if you're struggling with identity, I have a freebie called Discover Me. It's like a little mini workbook to help you identify who you are outside of your roles. I have my books. I have so much stuff. Like, there's no reason why we can't tap in outside of social media. So go ahead, follow me on one of those platforms, grab a freebie, join a workshop, and let's continue to evolve and grow together. Or you may be like, Tanisha, everything you're saying is cool, but I ain't got capacity for none of that right now. That's cool too. Just make sure you tap in next Sunday, and you'll be able to find the link in my bio, and we can journal and chat on the Zoom call. So I look forward to seeing you guys next Sunday, and I hope you have an amazing week. Bye.